from some of my experience at school, I've seen like that's where a lot of schools could do a lot more work on.
Yes.
You know, understanding the young people that they're working with. Because for me, if you don't understand them, it's really going to be really difficult to engage with them because
Completely.
you don't, you don't really identify with them. And I think sometimes that's almost for me the black privilege in those situations. I think because you're almost used to being an outsider, you're used to adapting into different situations.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I'll probably know more about white culture, for example,
Sure.
than the average white person would know about black culture.
Yeah.
Just by default of someone living in the UK, growing up
Yeah.
in the UK and things like that, you know, where it's like, for example, I could probably name 10 rock bands, but I don't listen to rock music, you know, but I'm just tapped into what's going on, where on the verse sometimes they won't be able to name 10 artists that I listen to. They don't 10
No,
reggae
that's true.
artists, for example.
They
They
wouldn't
can
know.
make it go,
No.
probably go Bob Marley,
And that's the end of that.
and that's it, you know. Maybe rappers, because rap's probably crossed over now into kind of mainstream culture. Then but I think just naturally growing up and football, like there's more parts of kind of links to kind of engage with people that I think that we have
Yes.
that they do, and I think that's for me definitely one of the issues that I think happens in a lot of mainstreams. You know, is the kids feeling like they're not understood.
Yes.
You know, like similar to what you're saying as well. Like, it's that feeling of being seen.
Yes.
You know, not having to kind of mansplain,
Yes.
over-explain
Yeah.
some stuff. You know,
I
and
agree.
that is, I would imagine that one of the key differences between, for example, if you went to school here, or if you went to school like in like a predominantly black country, you know, that massive element, that issue with race is almost like evaporates instantly, and now you can just focus on learning. And obviously, there's a million other issues
Of course,
that are
will still
affecting
exist.
young people. So it's not, once you take it out, it's plain sailing.
Of course.
But you just definitely don't have that
As a barrier.
as a barrier. So, as someone who's been in leadership positions as well, how have you found that? Have you found that an easy kind of progression from the way you started off into leadership positions, or was there kind of hurdles along the way?
I actually had I had a lot of privilege in that my ascension to leadership was, I would say, quite seamless, in that I did 2 years as like an NQ, like first qualified, then a newly qualified teacher, you know, the first 2 years that you do. And then I changed schools, and I became an assistant head of English. Then I became head of English. Then I became assistant head teacher. And that was all within the space of about 5 years, 5.5 years. And so where there are some people, it takes them about 10 years, 15 years to get to a certain position, mine was quite accelerated. But it wasn't accelerated because I just, you know, had it like that, and I was just like impressing people. It wasn't, I was working tirelessly. And I did have the understanding that as a black woman, I had to work harder than everybody else in order to be seen as, you know, capable. That is still the case. It's still the case. And I'm often told online by racists that, you know, I have a victim mentality and a chip on my shoulder. And if race is a barrier, then I am a victim.
Yeah.
Indeed, I am a victim of racism. Indeed, I have had to work harder. You know, I'm aware of the barriers that I face, in the same way you are aware of the barriers that you face, but maybe you don't want to articulate them for whatever reason. But there is no shame in me saying, actually, I had to work harder to get here. And I know that because we went through the school system, and I was reared to work harder. And so I know that my experience of the education system is quite unique. But I also know that if we went bang for bang, I was outworking you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. There was a point at which my head teacher had to say to me, Joy, this building needs to close and you need to go home. I've gotten to school at 6 o'clock and I've left at 9:30 easily, PM.
Wow.
And so I didn't get there because I was waiting for it to happen. I knew where I wanted to get to, and I worked tirelessly towards it. And I made sure that I've never missed a deadline. I've never been to work late. There's just so many. I've never had the issues that would usually ensue.
Yeah.
I kept myself to myself. I didn't have any friends at work. I didn't go to the staff room. There were so many things I just did. I kept my head down and I just worked. But I know that you shouldn't have to do all of those things to experience leadership. You should be able to make mistakes, you know, show up as yourself, Not work like you're,
Yeah,
you know,
course,
you like
yeah,
you own the
like-
building.
yeah,
For
exactly,
example,
like
you
you've got
there are
shares
so
and,
many people who have gotten to my position and even higher who haven't done a tenth of the work that I've done. It shouldn't have to be like this, but this is the space that we find ourselves in. So yes, I experience some privilege, but of course, there's also the plight, the barriers that I was overcoming, you know, preemptively almost.